Kamala is ready to assume if Biden's campaign meets its doom. The VP telling the Wall Street Journal she's primed to be president whenever the big guy is deemed no longer fit for office. She said, quote, "I am ready to serve. There's no question about that." But you'd have to fall out of a coconut tree to believe that.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right? I love Venn diagrams. Always ask, is there a Venn diagram for this? I'm telling you, it's fascinating when you do.
But one Venn diagram you will never see is Kamala and voters who like her. 42% of Americans say they have a very negative view of the VP. Even the White House can't stand her. One senior official trashing Kamala for being a lousy border czar, saying, quote, "She's been at best ineffective and at worst sporadically engaged, and not seeing it was her responsibility. It's an opportunity for her, and she didn't fill the breach." Speaking of filling breaches, man, the president looking confused and seemingly having no idea where to stand behind Jordan's King Abdullah II yesterday. So is it time for a cognitive exam?
Does the White House think that the idea of the president taking a cognition test, a cognitive test, as a part of this physical is a legitimate idea?
The president proves every day how he operates, how he thinks, right? By dealing with world leaders, by making really difficult decisions on behalf of the American people, whether it's domestic, whether it's national security. And so he shows it every day on how he thinks, how he operates. And so that is how Dr. O'Connor sees it.
Jesse, you, like me, must be enormously conflicted because we know a President Kamala Harris would be great for our shows, but lousy for the country. And what comes first? You're a patriot, but you're also a self-serving monster. So how do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, happy Easter, Greg.
Thank you.
Love that sweater. I feel I'll be just fine even if Kamala Harris is president because of the deep state.
Yeah.
But I just want reporters to keep asking Kamala this question, because every time they ask her, "Are you fit to serve?" and she says yes, we're reminded that Biden isn't fit and that she will never be fit. So keep asking this, reporters. I love this question. And every time now the reporters ask them anything, is he going to take a cognitive test? Why doesn't he do more press conferences? Will you agree to the release of the video with the special counsel interview that showed that he didn't know when he was vice president? If they say, no, we're not going to do any of these things, it looks like they're covering up the age factor. And if they say, sure, release the video where I didn't know when my son died, it looks like you didn't know when your son died. So they're caught, and I'm tickled by it. It looks like the media, permission to make an analogy?
Absolutely.
Has been given their learner's permit. Remember when you're 16 and you're just hitting the road and you're only allowed to drive to and from work, or you have to get home before 9 o'clock? The media has now been given license to cover the age factor. Before it was just a Fox News story, now it's mainstream. Everything now is covered by the lens of the age. Now he made a verbal slip up. Well, now he doesn't have anything on his schedule. And then they keep asking these questions to Binder, who's never had to face this before, except from our very own stupid son of a bitch, Peter Doocy. And now the media is divided into two camps. You have one side of the media that says, Biden's Einstein. And then you have the other side that's like, let's switch him out with Newsom at the convention. And this hurts the Democrats because when the media is divided like that, they're not on offense against Trump and MAGA. And if you could just keep the Democrats on defense like that, that's how you win an election.
Very good analysis, Jesse.
Thank you.
Judge, no cognitive test. I think that might be a first since they instituted it back in the 1500s. But I've not heard of this.
What, that he's not taking it?
No, that this is the first time a president hasn't taken it as part of their physical exam.
Well, of course he can't take it. You know, it's just like he can't do the interview at the Super Bowl. What did they say? 120 million people watched that? They weren't going to let him go out there and make a fool of himself. And by the way, when you were reading the introduction, Joe Biden goes behind King Abdullah, goes to the right. and then goes to the left. And what you didn't see was he went back to the right behind the president. He doesn't even know where to stand. Here he is on the right. He'll go to the left. Now watch. Then he goes to the right again. Watch. He goes to the right. It's crazy. I mean, it's embarrassing. But here's the thing. You know, Kamala Harris, with 42% of the people have a very negative view of her. She comes out and she says, everyone who meets me says that I'm ready to serve, and I am ready. She can't identify anyone. But then you say to yourself, but wait a minute, isn't everyone who ever worked for you going in the opposite direction? If you're leading, why are they all quitting? You know, there isn't anybody who wants to stick around. And what have you done for the past 3 years? And that's the saddest part of it all, because I want to see a woman succeed. You know, look, the border is the biggest issue to Americans today. And by the way, kudos to Greg Abbott. Everybody trashed him. They said he was a xenophobe. They said it was a stunt. The truth is now America gets what's going on. What have you done for the border, Kamala? You had so many opportunities to prove yourself as an effective woman, as a woman who could lead. And how many times have they reshaped her? Dana, we've talked about
17.
it. Yeah, at least. And in the end, she, by the way, denied the Sunday shows on Her report. You know, and yet she claims the reason they're not popular is because of messaging. But he won't do an interview. She won't do an interview. She's not doing the Sunday shows because she can't talk about what happened with Joe Biden, because they all say he's so effective in private. Well, then in public, why isn't he effective?
You know what's interesting, Dana? If I think the interview that we were quoting from Kamala was done before the horrible week.
Oh, I don't know when it was
Pretty
done.
sure. I mean, she saw this coming.
Well, it's been coming.
What did you say in my ear? It was 2 days before. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
I hope that was a voice.
Wow. Are you talking to dead
Killed
people?
Jesse Waters? Must kill Jesse Waters.
Got it. So what in the article it says she's sporadically engaged.
Yes.
I'm like, that's not very good. And then it's almost like she's a tourist within the White House.
Yes.
She comes in every once in a while. You see her. And Veep was such an effective show, and it made me laugh so hard because it's so realistic. And then you get to this administration, you're like, whoa, this is their reality. In the show, one of the funniest things was every time the vice president, Selena Gomez, gets back to her office, she says, did the president call? And they say, no. And that's exactly what's happening here. And then she does an interview, and they say, are you ready to go on? She's like, I'm ready to go on day one. Well, that's the bare minimum of what the vice president is supposed to be able to do. The other problem is voters have eyes. Democrats and family members of Biden saying that he's great is expected. They have no third-party validator saying, I was with Biden the other day. He's fine, guys. He's fine. Or I saw her in a meeting. She was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever hear that from somebody who doesn't work, that's being paid to say that? No.
Nope, not at all. You know, Harold, I was shocked what you said in the green room. You said to me, Greg, you look great in that sweater.
I did say that.
Yeah, and then you said, you know, if the Democrats hadn't stolen the election, Trump would have won, and then they wouldn't be in this situation with a frail president and an incompetent vice president, and instead they would have an array of strong candidates to go after 8 years of Trump. I just wish they had played fair. And then you started weeping. Anyway.
I thought after I said your sweater looked good, I said your tie looked good too. But
yes.
Maybe I said all that other stuff also. Look, I admire her confidence. I think no, of all the vice presidents in our last vice presidents, Quayle, Cheney, Pence, H.W. Bush, Gore, Biden, none of them lacked confidence. All of them thought they would be ready to serve if the opportunity presented itself. And in fact, two of them had a chance to serve. H.W. did, and Biden did, and Biden is. There's no getting around the fact that the vice president has had some missteps. And we certainly have had our share of chronicling them on this show, and she deserves to be spotlighted when those things happen. For me, the most glaring challenge for the vice president is that she was given, I think, the most important combination of a national security and domestic policy issue, which was the border. And I think whomever that anonymous or person didn't want to be identified in administration who questioned her efficacy and effectiveness around that issue, I think that's a legitimate point. We've had advice. Dana and others around the table have tried to give advice. One of the things I've never quite understood is she is was one of the most effective crime fighters as an attorney general in the country. Why you wouldn't travel around the country and get the best practices in crime fighting and figure out where the best morale is for police officers around the country and put together proposals and plans to help those police departments has always baffled me. Now, when it comes to the cognitive test, I don't agree we should give a president of the United States a cognitive test. People do.
Even him?
Let me just finish. I think people do stupid things all the time. And they do foolish things all the time. And in fact, a lot of people who are in positions of power do foolish things and stupid things all the time. That doesn't mean that they cognitively are not there. Look, if you didn't have this piece of tape here, I wouldn't know where to sit every day. I sit off of it, off and on, and I'm only 53, and I hope my wife and kids don't want me to take a cognitive test. But the truth of the matter about Vice President Harris, she's like every other vice president, but I would say this. You would raise those numbers from 42 to higher if the border had been a bigger part of the portfolio over the last couple of years.
All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.